Okay. Hi everybody. This is Anna from Love Brain Reset, and today I'm really happy to have as a guest Mark Kennedy. And Mark is part of the duo of Kennedy Authors and also his company Future Toolbox. So hello Mark, welcome.
Hi Anna, yeah, lovely to see you. Thank you very much for inviting me on.
Yeah, no, that's a pleasure. No, it's lovely to see you. So Mark, perhaps first of all, you could tell us a bit about the work you do. You've written 2 books, which I'm sure everyone would love to hear about, and you have 2 companies as well.
Yeah, trying to keep busy really. But yeah, the books we've written. So the first one was, well, I actually wrote one of quite a few years ago about football. So that's
Okay,
about my
sorry,
local
more
football
than
club.
2. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. But I don't think I told you about that one because it's quite a local one. But yeah, this was our one from a couple of years ago, which is called "Don't Get Your Neck Tattooed."
Brilliant. Yeah, I've
And
got that one. I'm doing that one with my kids. It's
yes,
great. Yeah. I love
thank
the
you for the lovely
title.
review.
I love the title.
Yeah, it actually came from one of my students many years ago. I worked in post-16 education, and one of my students had a horrendous neck tattoo, and we were all sort of round the table, the students having a live chat as it was, and he was saying, or somebody was saying, what's the best bit of advice you've ever been given from your parents, or what do you wish you'd listened to, and things like that.
Yeah.
And I said, well, look, if I had kids, I'd tell them don't get my neck tattooed. And these guys all sort of said, oh, you should write a book. So it was probably about 10 years later we wrote Don't Get Your Neck Tattooed.
Brilliant.
And, he probably is totally not aware that he's got a book named after him.
He's now famous and doesn't realise it. Oh,
that's right. But yeah, we wanted to make it fun. It's a personal development book for teens, but also loved by adults as well. So it hits a lot of
yeah,
areas.
it's great. It's got loads of tips, really about kind of mindset and life skills, isn't it? Things that we're not taught at school, essentially, how to navigate life well and how to look after ourselves, and just tools and techniques we can use to sort of improve our mindset and our skills interacting with others, and how we can look after ourselves, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's really good.
Yeah, and the strapline is the Z to A of life. I've dropped the book now. Sorry, the Z to A of life skills that you don't get from sitting exams as well. So you hit the nail on the head there.
No, it's great.
But yeah, then we wrote this book last year. So this was actually my wife's idea, and a very different.
That's what the hell just happened. Yeah, another great title.
Yeah, that was my wife Jules's idea. So as I'm here today talking to you, I had a brain injury 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And the night that it happened while I was on holiday, the night that I was in the hotel room, completely had no memory of it at all, completely passed out. Jules was just sitting there, and she kept sitting there over and over in her mind saying, what the hell just happened? What the hell just happened here? And when I woke up, I think one of the first things I said was, what the hell just happened? It might not have been as polite as that. But
right, okay, yeah, along those lines, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Jules had the idea of writing our story to help other people that have suffered brain injury.
Yeah.
And originally she was going to write it from her point of view, because there's so much about people living with brain injury, but there's even less about the people that live with the people with brain injury. So
sure, yeah, because it really affects them too, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, we wrote the manuscript of this in 36 days, and we had a really lovely friend called Cassie, who's a soul writer and has become a really good friend, and she basically helped us structure the chapters after that. And it's like Mark's part, Jules's part, Mark's part, Jules's part, and they just totally integrated to each other. So yeah, it's been a very unique book, and we've enjoyed it. I find it hard to read myself, but other people have enjoyed reading it and got a lot from it. So
that's wonderful. And in terms of you saying it's hard for you to read that, is that because it's kind of emotional for you reading that? And because if you don't mind explaining just really quickly, Mark, can you just explain what happened, like really briefly, with the accident? Yeah,
indeed, what the hell did happen?
Exactly.
So yeah, we was on holiday in Fuerteventura.
Yeah.
So got there 2012 it was, time of the Olympics when everything was fabulous in Britain. What a wonderful time. And it was a night that Mo Farah won the 5K, so he became the first person to win the 2 gold medals.
Yeah.
And we watched it on a really little TV in the hotel lobby with 2 other English people. We're going mad, yeah, Mo Farah's won the gold medal.
Very exciting
And then
moment.
we just headed. Oh, it was brilliant. We headed to a little tapas bar, which was about, I don't know, 200-300 meters away from the hotel. And I have no memory of what happened there, but obviously Jules has a stronger memory than me. But yeah, fundamentally, we've worked out and pieced it all together. I went to the toilet, I blacked out, and I just fell and hit my head on either the sink or the toilet or the wall or whatever. She found me in the toilet probably about 10 minutes or so later, thinking he's been gone a little while. And I just went outside, blood pouring out my nose, got taken in an ambulance to the hospital there, and then was discharged with an ear infection.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's right. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
it was pretty scary.
Yeah. Interesting ear infection. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so that was the second night of our holiday, and after a few days, I went to the doctors, the local doctor, and quite amusingly, we got a taxi. Hopped in the taxi and said, "Oh, to the doctors, please." And the guy looked at us and sort of shook his head as if to say, "Why are you going to the doctors?" We didn't realise it was on €1 when we started in the taxi. It was on €1 when we dropped us off. It was that close. But yeah, we ended up in the doctors, and the doctor said, "Yeah, you've got loads of blood in your ear. You've hit your head," which by that point I'd worked out that happened.
Yeah.
And I got cleared to fly home. Came home, went to Northampton General Hospital. Had an MRI scan, a CT scan, and they got the results back and rushed me to John Radcliffe for an emergency operation, a craniotomy, which I decided at the time, I thought, look, I've been conscious for a week, I haven't been sick for a week.
Yeah, you had fractured your skull, hadn't you? Is that right? You've fractured your skull, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I learned at that point I'd fractured my skull, I'd broken a lot of bones in my ear, which is quite random, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I had a blood clot on this side, which was about 3 or 4 centimetres. And I had one on this side as well, where my brain had shifted and hit that side.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, when I heard what a craniotomy was, I decided that I didn't really want to have that operation.
Yeah.
Because I thought, I've sort of survived a week here, I can survive longer. I can do without this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very scary.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that, because I find it emotional too, talking about mine. So thank you. I appreciate that. So Mark, so obviously you've come a long way over that 8 years. What would you say have been some of the kind of significant things that have helped your recovery?
I guess the one thing for me is, I went from life-saving operation needed to 6 or 7 weeks later being told just go and live your life as normal. And I'm a fit, active bloke, of course, and we just get on with life. Generally, it's well known that men don't talk about mental health up until very recent years.
Yeah.
And I think I just pushed too hard at that point. So the biggest thing for me in my recovery came a number of years later, when I actually realised that I still had a lot of side effects with fatigue, memory loss, and emotional issues. And so probably just stepping back a little bit, I suppose number one thing was getting on with it and realising, okay, look, I'm going to look after myself. I'm going to keep fit and active. I love running. I was straight back into running again. Pretty quickly. I was told I could go for a run, so it's like, I'm going to go and do that.
Brilliant.
And I went back to working and everything like that. So all that stuff was really good. But what I didn't account for was the bits that get taken away from you with brain injury. So the ability to function every day without needing to switch off at some point, or the I guess the little bit longer it takes to process a bit of information sometimes, or being in a really noisy environment.
Did
So
you
it was
put
sort
the
of two
two
stages.
together? Did you put the two together, Mark? Did you realise that those symptoms essentially were related to the brain injury?
Yeah, I think in the early days I was told that, oh yeah, you'll have these side effects, but
Mm-hmm.
I know we chatted beforehand
Yeah.
last week that you sort of have that 6 month window where you have that recovery. And I
Mm-hmm.
think everybody gets that sort of idea that within 6 months' time you're going to recover.
Yes.
And then you
Yes, you
sort of
kind
go
of
back
set
six
that goal.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So you have your biggest recovery in the first 6 to 12 months. But I think from speaking to people in brain injury communities, you tend to get that idea that after 6 months to a year, you're going to be the same person you were before.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get sort of 2 years down the line and you realise, oh, these things are still here and
Yeah.
those bits are still
Yeah. There's still a
missing.
few things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really difficult. So I guess the second part was accepting that some of these things are going to be here forever. You know, I'm going to feel
Mm-hmm.
tired and fatigued. I'm going to struggle to process information, and I'm going to struggle to sometimes stay in a conversation or stay on track with a conversation. And you know, I might feel a bit more emotional than I used to. So yeah,
Yes.
it's that acceptance and trying to manage it and control it and own it as opposed to letting it own you, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. And I think acceptance is so key, isn't it? I've spoken to so
Mm.
many people, and it's that acceptance. I found that really hard on my journey. Like for ages, I think I was partly in denial, and then I felt such huge grief, like you were mentioning the loss, the things that you can't do as well. And that went on for quite a long time for me. And I got a bit stuck in that. But then I think as I did make, as I recovered and I noticed things improving, coming to the accepting it, but then accepting for me hasn't meant, well, that's where I'm at and that's as good as it's going to get. I accept how things are. I'm really proud of the achievements that I have made and how far I've come. And I also believe that I will keep improving and keep moving forwards.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of and but also being really gracious to myself when things aren't great. It's okay, isn't it? It's like, okay, and you know why, and you don't,
Yeah.
learning not to sort of be hard on yourself, I think, is really important, isn't it? If you have a bad day or a bad whatever.
That's right. And you've hit the nail on the head there, really. We actually put the last words on the back of the book. Says this book helps you to understand that at times it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes when you're in the moment, it's difficult to feel that, isn't it?
Hard
Think,
at the
do you know
time,
what? I don't
isn't
feel
it?
okay. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it is. Do you know what? I love what you just said there. It's actually celebrating what you can do
Yes.
and not
Yeah.
thinking about what you can't do.
Yeah.
It does get frustrating sometimes when you can't do something,
Yeah.
and as I was saying, in the moment, it's hard to celebrate that. But when you actually take stock at it and look at the bigger picture, it's sometimes removing yourself away from it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
And
thinking, yeah,
sometimes
okay, yeah,
I found as well, sometimes I might not be able to do something how I used to do it, and it's then taken a while to figure out another way of doing it. But sometimes I found another way, and it might have taken quite a long time to learn that and to make that change or that shift. But not always, but with certain things, I think just have to be a little bit flexible with your thinking and try and find another way if you can.
definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, so Mark, what are some of the things that have helped you the most? Oh, so I probably just asked you that. Actually. I think that's the one I just supposed to ask you. But yeah, I mean, what are some of the tips and the sort of tools and strategies that you could share with people? What do you use in
Yeah,
those moments? Say when you're having, when there is a bit of a blip or you are struggling or things are getting a bit overwhelming. What do you kind of draw on to help you through that time?
great question. I guess one thing for me, you always hear this phrase, "Listen to your body," don't you?
Yes.
And that is a real key. So yeah, if you're feeling fatigued, then go and rest. But one of the key things for me is not just listening to my body, but listening to my wife.
Oh, yes.
And again, there's probably lots of
Yeah.
blokes sitting there going, "Oh God, yeah, I've got to listen to my wife," and lots of wives sitting there going, "Yes, you should listen to me." But in general, I run two businesses with Jules. We live together, we travel together, we do pretty much everything together. So she's the person that knows and sees me all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to sit back and think, actually, Jules is saying something to me here that I need to listen to and go with it. Because there's sometimes times where Jules will say, "You're not taking this in, are you? Or are you okay? Or I think you need to go and rest. Or what's happening?"
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there thinking, "I'm fine." And then you take it a couple of steps forward and think, actually, do you know what? I need to listen here, because I'm obviously not noticing something myself that Jules is.
Yes.
And if you take Jules as the outside person, just listening to the outside people.
Yeah.
I've picked it up before. I do a lot of business networking, and I've been in groups before where I've had a conversation with somebody, and then I've realised that I have no idea what they've just said, because I've noticed they've realised that they've got no idea. Sorry, they've picked up that I have no idea what they've just said. So sometimes it's putting yourself into a position of, I suppose, is safety the right word, or I don't know how to describe it, but I have less of a problem now going into a meeting with somebody and saying, look, do you know what? In the days where we could meet in coffee shops,
seems like a lifetime away, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? But if I meet somebody face to face in a public environment and it's noisy, I have less problem saying, "Oh, hi Anna, just is it okay if we sit over there at that seat there, and I sit with my back to the wall just so I can hear you a little bit better?"
Yeah.
It's just I have a few issues with concentration, and I suffered a brain injury years ago. It's just easier.
Yeah.
The upside to that is most people really understand, and they're like, "Oh, wow, bless you. Yeah, let's go and sit over here." Downside is then you have to explain to them what your brain injury is, but that's a byproduct. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But
So
it's a lot
having
easier to do
that awareness, so having Jules helping you with the awareness side of things when you're, because we all do that, don't we? We're not always aware, and I'm the same with my husband. I mean, I'm so grateful to him because he often will pick things up with me as well. And that does really help. But I suppose as well, what you're saying is developing your own self-awareness around certain things, and listening to your body and listening to the signals you're getting, and then making adjustments for that. And if you're with other people, it doesn't have to be a big thing, doesn't it? Like you say, you can just say, "Oh, could we go and sit over there?" Or that's really, really helpful, actually. That sometimes it's the right thing perhaps to say, "Oh, look, it's my brain injury." But I think maybe feeling you don't necessarily have to explain lots of things, I suppose, unless they ask. But other times perhaps you don't need to mention it. Actually, it's fine, that will be enough. Just taking yourself to a quieter spot will be enough to sort of function better, I suppose. Yeah,
absolutely.
No.
And again, it's just it's assessing the situation and who you're with. It's like that thing they call a risk assessment, isn't it? It's not really a risk, but it's managing the situation and looking at it from the bigger picture, I suppose.
So things that we would take for granted that now we just have to pay more attention to and be more intentional about. And that comes with time, doesn't it, Mark? I've found that comes with time and experience and confidence and things, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And it does allow your world to expand. It does allow you to put yourself into different situations that perhaps you might have felt anxious about previously, and then it takes a while maybe to build up to that. But I think each time we have a win in that kind of, in a new area or in something, it's, even if it was maybe a little bit tricky or whatever, we can come away knowing that we've achieved something, we've had a new experience, it was okay, or this is what went wrong and we can change that next time. But I do think that gives us confidence, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. And so with future Toolbox, obviously, with so that is, if you wouldn't mind explaining, that's the motivational and public speaking side of your work, isn't it? And I'm really amazed. I mean, I just find that so amazing, because for you to have had this experience 8 years ago, and to have recovered to the point that you can do the work you're doing, is just so truly inspiring.
Thank you.
And is that something you feel, I suppose it's part of who you are, essentially? I guess it's informed partly by your experiences as well, and with the brain injury and the recovery. And I just love if you could share a bit more about that, Mark, what you do,
Yeah,
and then, yeah, how you've got to where you are with it.
absolutely. Well, I mean, Future Toolbox, we set up 11 years ago. And Jules and I actually met working together quite a few years before that. So she was a training manager, I was a recruiter, and we worked with teenagers in post-16 education.
Yeah,
And we always had this idea, which was dreamed upon the beach, about running
great.
our own business one day. But you know, when you have that idea, you don't know what you're going to do, where it's going to lead to, and then you sort of progressively happens. But yeah, I started the business predominantly freelancing
Mm-hmm.
as a licensee for a company, and over the years progressed on to writing our own material, and then just going totally independent probably about four years or so ago. And
Mm-hmm.
some of that was down to the brain injury as well, because at the time I was traveling all around the country, going to different schools, going to different locations, and it was just absolutely
Too
flooring me with the fatigue and
much.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you saying that you were just getting really, really tired with it, and with all the
Oh,
traveling.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I
completely
think my
understand that.
record
Yeah.
was pulling into 3 motorway service stations and sleeping. So yeah,
Oh
it was
gosh,
just really
too
really tough.
much. Yeah. Oh.
But yeah, we created the Future Toolbox, and we just thought of different ideas and different things that you learn that you put in your toolbox for later.
Mm-hmm.
And we're constantly going through a life of personal development. Now, teenagers generally see the education system as that's the learning you do. Once you leave school, I never have to do that again. You know, I've done my
Mm-hmm.
exams, or
Yeah.
I've avoided my exams, or whatever. I
Yeah.
never have to learn Shakespeare again. That's it. My learning's finished. And sadly, that goes into the mindset of many adults. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a family community around education. So we've got the teenagers in school, young adults in university, we've got the parents and the teachers, and pulling them all together. And you know, then there's a book there that they can pick up and read, or they can
Mm-hmm.
go onto one of our online programs and they can work through it. And what
Mm-hmm.
we love is when a parent comes back to us and say, you know, me and my son or me and my daughter have read this book together, and we've gone through it, we've learnt this together, and actually I should be doing that as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it's that whole development, that whole learning.
Yeah.
And we're in the process of rebranding and restructuring. Always sound really cliches in business, don't they? But we're in the process of doing those two things and working in collaboration with a mental health first aider,
Yeah.
and other people that can offer things we don't have the strength in, so they're better than us at delivering like one-to-one coaching and what have you. So it's just a case of totally evolving, and not necessarily employing people, but collaborating with people to say, we've got all these tools here. Here's a tool for you. You know, go and use it in the future. Put it in your toolbox.
Yeah.
Use it every single day. Use it when you need to use it. So it's great fun. And for me personally, and for Jules as well as running the company, we use a lot of the tools ourselves. So it's a win-win, because we're developing ourselves all the time. But
Definitely.
yeah.
It's brilliant. And so you're still learning too, and that's, I guess, informing your work. And so what are you doing, Mark? Do you mind me asking, for your at the moment in terms of self-development? Is there a book you're reading, or anything in particular that you found especially helpful?
Yeah, I'm on the last pages of Quiet, which is a book by Fern Cotton.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's
Yeah.
really, really good, because it talks about shutting off your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And Jules isn't a massive reader of books. She tends to do like more online personal development.
Yes.
But she got the book before I did and read it and said, "Oh, this is really good. This is really good." So I
Yeah.
thought, yeah, I've definitely got to read that one. I guess my favourite one, the one that really got me into personal development, it was that light bulb moment, as they call it, was
Mm-hmm.
The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy.
Okay.
So
I've not heard of that
he
one. I'm
was,
always keen to
yeah.
hear about things. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the editor of Success magazine at the time, and he just
Yeah.
looked at all the little things that you do every day, adding up to the big results, instead of
Yeah.
looking for that big day where everything goes, boom, I've done it. It's like, no, it's the little choices you make every day. So yeah, that's a book. I saw him actually speak at an event. We have another part-time business, and I saw him speak at an event, one of the first ones we went to, and I just live by that. And it's like, I need to read this book, and I've listened to the audio over and over again. So yeah, the
That
Compound Effect by
sounds
Darren Hardy.
okay. That sounds absolutely brilliant, and in a way that actually does remind me about the approach you take in your own book, in the tattoo neck book, which I've sat and I read at breakfast sometimes with my kids, and we're sort of going through that. And again, I think what I love about that is it's those habits and it's those small things that you incorporate into your daily life. And
Absolutely.
I know when I was recovering from my injury, I was always looking for the miracle cure, the magic pill, the quick remedy, you know, the quick solution. And actually then I realized there isn't one. It is all those little things you do, the habits, the daily habits, and the small things building up and having a bigger impact over time.
That's right. And I mean, you've probably read the chapter C is for Compound Effect.
No, I haven't got there yet. No.
Not to that one yet. There is H for habits in there as well, so you've got plenty.
No, we need to get going with that. But yes, no, I think that's powerful actually, isn't it?
Yes.
So often the simplest things can be the most effective, can't they?
Well, that's it. And again, we live in a life where I don't know, you watch a TV program and it tells you to buy a new car or buy a new mobile phone or whatever. And that's what teenagers see, that's what adults see, and that's what people think we need.
Yeah.
But to me, traveling and walking along a beach or through a forest or that nature, that side of things is so much more pleasing than buying the latest car or the mobile phone.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm completely with you on that, Mark. Totally, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it has been absolutely lovely talking to you. It's been great, and you've shared so much value there, so many valuable insights and experiences, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today, and share with the listeners. So thanks so much, Mark.
Oh, thank you. And thank you to you as well for doing this, because we need more awareness of brain injury for ourselves as sufferers, but also for people out there who are living with people. So thank you so much for helping get our story out there, but also for helping others as well. So thank you.
Oh, thanks, Mark. And so if people want to find you, that's, I guess, Future Toolbox, is it? Or Kennedy Authors, you've got a website for that as well, haven't you? And you're on Instagram.
That's right. Yeah, we're at the moment in this sort of restructure, rebrand, as they call it. We're pulling everything together, so it'll all be under the Future Toolbox banner.
Okay.
But we're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. We've even got a TikTok
everywhere.
account.
Are you on TikTok? Oh, brilliant. Oh, I'll have to check that out. My daughter
that's what the
loves TikTok.
teenagers like.
Yeah.
But I haven't done a dance on it yet, I must add.
You must. You must challenge yourself. It's got to be done. I think
they might ban me on TikTok if I do. But futuretoolbox.co.uk or kennedyauthors.co.uk, if I could say that, is where you can find our books. But they will all be integrated together. But you can still use both links as they are into the new year. And you can find us on both on social media, Kennedy Authors or Future Toolbox. So nice.
Brilliant.
And easy.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you again. Absolute pleasure.
Take care. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.